And the Packers, the reigning champion Rams, sit third. The Chargers sneak on that list as well. Booger and Courtney are back with us for this topic. But Mad Dog, I'm going to start with you here. Who has the best roster in the NFL?
Well, I would probably say Bucs and the Bills would be right in the mix. I don't know how the Chargers, to me, you cannot put a team that did not make the playoffs, and the coach counts as the roster, by the way. You know, you got to count the coach. He's making a lot. And Staley is not exactly Vince Lombardi. I mean, we saw his timeouts. The Raider game was awful in Week 17. Too aggressive on fourth downs. And I love the quarterback, and I know they added offensive linemen, and I know they got, good receivers. They got good balance. Last year, they're the worst team in the world stopping the run. Booger can help us out, what they've added there. But I can't put a team seventh on an RPI thing, whatever that rating is, based on the idea that the Chargers, who were 9-8 last year, you can't do. There's got to be a foundation of success before you start going into the following year and saying, well, we're going to put them 7. Well, hold on now. You didn't even make the playoffs last year. How could he be 7? Mm-hmm. So that's why I would eliminate the Chargers. Everybody else there, Courtney, I'm okay with, to be honest with you. Booger?
Yeah, I would agree with you from a standpoint of Brandon Staley. Like, I'm not a fan of going for it on fourth down, and I'm still kind of wrapping my brain around the whole analytics. You and I, Russo, are kind of old school when it comes to that. But as far as the roster, when you look at the talent top to bottom, it's hard to argue that the Chargers aren't up there with the Bills and the Bengals as far as the most talented team in football. You're right. Their defense was terrible last year. So what did they do? They went out and got Sebastian Joseph Day. They got Khalil Mack. They got J.C. Jackson to fortify our defense. Oh, by the way, on offense, they signed Mike Williams back. The offensive line wasn't very good. You go out and you sign Zion Johnson, or you draft Zion Johnson, should I say. You had Rashawn Slater from last year when you drafted him to play left tackle. And you look at Justin Herbert, who I think is one of the, to me, Josh Allen is 1 as far as the MVP candidate. I'd have to put Justin Herbert as 2. So, Mad Dog and Courtney, when you add all of this together and you look at it, that roster, top to bottom, is as good as anybody in football. Now, the coach, he has a lot to improve, and everybody's going to say, well, he's a gambler, he's all this. No. He cost him ball games last year. So if we're going to include the coach, Mad Dog, I got to knock him down. But as far as the players that step on the field, that roster is as good as it gets, my man.
Yeah, if you are in the AFC West, you're required to have good pass rushers. That's why every single team out there went out and got pass rushers, just like Booger was mentioning with Khalil Mack. To me, I agree with the FBI rankings. I can't pick any other team than Buffalo. I mean, they already had the league's best defense last year, and then they go and they retool their pass rush by getting Von Miller and a couple other pieces as well. They have the best secondary, Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Tre'Davious White, Kaiir Elam. Their new cornerback that they got via the draft. And, speed kills on offense. And they've got a lot of really fast and really good players. I would not be surprised, in spite of them having Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, and now Jamison Crowder, who, as I said yesterday on the show, a massive upgrade at that spot over Cole Beasley. Don't be surprised if Devin Singletary goes for over 1,000 yards rushing this year, because last year, towards the end of the season, we saw them finally commit to the run in ways that they hadn't earlier in the year. This is probably not only just the best roster, but the most balanced roster and most complete roster in the NFL right now.
Well, I'll throw it out to both of you. The one thing about the Bills that worries me, and I know you're going to tell me that the Chiefs are so good, they were beyond bad against Kansas City in the playoff game. 19 seconds, Boog, the Chiefs went right down the field, kicked the field goal. I mean, they scored at will in the overtime. Now, you want to say, hey, you know what? Long game, late in the year. Chiefs are so good. Everything is offensive-oriented, so you got to give them a little pass. That was a horrendous – you'd be embarrassed if you're on that defense, Boog. That was an horrendous performance defensively. I mean, they got killed. So do we sit there and say that they're Von Miller, all right? Is the Bill defense that good based on what I saw last year in the postseason game against Kansas City?
Yeah, I think you have to look at the overall product. And, yeah, the Bills' defense was the best in football, and they improved. Let's not forget Tre'Davious White missed a large portion of the season with an ACL. You go out, he's going to be back. You bring in Von Miller. He's going to make the defense better. But this is kind of typical of you, Mad Dog. When when the argument doesn't necessarily go your way, you kind of change the topic a little bit. The topic is not whether or not the Bills defense is going to be the best. The topic is really simple. See, I've been watching this show for a while, especially every Wednesday, and I noticed this is what you do. When you can't win one argument, you switch to another one. That's a veteran move by you of all your years in broadcasting. But let's stick to the topic. And the topic simply states this: which roster, you see that bottom line? Read that for me. Which roster is the best in the NFL? And that would be the Bills, the Chargers, the Bengals, the Bucs. That's what we're talking about. If you want to debate the Bills defense, call me. I'll come on your radio show, or I'll come to New York and I'll appear on this program on a Wednesday. But right now, you've just lost the argument because the Chargers roster is really, really good, my friend.
Boy, I tell you, the Raiders ran right down their throat. You know that. In Week 18, you buy this, Courtney, with the Bill roster. And how about the Bucs? Their roster is very good too. No,
it is. I forgot who they had at quarterback. Can you remind me?
No idea.
Is it Blaine Gabbert? Oh no, he came back. Right, Tom Brady.
Okay, I want to talk about something because the team that was number 5 on that list is the Bucs, and you just mentioned Tom Brady. Obviously, he retired and then he came back, and so he's back again. You guys had a conversation on First Take yesterday, and Courtney, you specifically said that you feel like the Bucs have the most pressure.
Yeah, I started a firestorm apparently doing that. It's funny how.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was talking to the television too, like, no.
Like, what's wrong with that girl?
But so I'm going to go to you, Booger, for this one. Do you feel like it's Super Bowl or bust for Brady and the Bucs?
Yeah, no doubt. Like Tom Brady didn't come back to make another Pro Bowl or to make an All-Pro team or to make the Glazers some more money. Like he didn't come back to Tampa for that. He came back to Tampa to win a Super Bowl. So if the quarterback left Carline because he got tired of dropping the kids off at school, if he left Carline to come back to play football, then he's only coming back for one thing. And that's to win a Super Bowl. So how could it not be Super Bowl or bust in Tampa? And, Mad Dog, you were speaking of Todd Bowles and speaking of a new coach. Like, I think Todd Bowles is going to be really good. But we don't know. Like, we haven't seen this version of Todd Bowles. So, yeah, Courtney, I would agree with you. This team is under the most pressure because the quarterback came back and they have to make every move to win now. Like, this ain't win 2 years from now. This is win now. Courtney, you are 100% right.
Thank you.
I completely disagree. Booger, they won 2 years ago. What, if Brady loses a playoff game, we're going to look at it as a bad year or he had a bad career? Oh, absolutely no way. And one thing about Bowles, to be fair, he was not a good coach for the Jets. Okay, he was there for 4 years. They did not make the playoffs. His clock management was terrible. Yeah, awful. Go ask a Jet fan who watched all the games. So, but he deserves a second chance, and he's going to get it now with Brady, and he's got Leftwich there. They got a good team. They should be a big-time team. But I don't buy the idea that it's Super Bowl or bust. When you've won as many as he has, and he played great last year. I understand it might be for him, because we all know it's, if you lose, it doesn't, second place is not good enough. But for the rest of the country, I just don't think anybody is out there saying, boy, the Bucs better win this year, so it's a complete disaster for Tom Brady.
It's not just for Tom Brady, though. He has teammates who are going in their press conferences talking about this. Devin White said this recently, said it's the only goal. So everybody else realizes they have to align with Tom Brady here and put themselves in position to win a Super Bowl, because then why did he come back? He didn't come back to play checkers. He came back to come and win a Super Bowl.
But if they don't win a Super Bowl, when we look at the Tampa life for Brady 10 years from now, are we going to say it wasn't successful?
I'm never going to look at his rings that he's won and say he isn't the greatest quarterback.
No, I mean in Tampa.
I'm looking in Tampa right now. If they don't win a Super Bowl this year, why did he come back? He didn't come back to lose in the divisional playoffs.
Because, as Booger said, he's bored driving the kids around downtown Tampa, so he decided to come back. I just don't think you can put that pressure on a franchise that won 2 years ago.
Booger, quickly, we got to go. Do you have something else that you're trying to add?
Yes, you guys are doing an outstanding job. Courtney, I followed you. You've done a great job on the show. Mad Dog, whenever you feel like a little competition outside of Stephen A., I'm only a phone call away. I know you may not know where Louisiana is, but that's where I'm from.
Yes, I do.
Just remember that, young man. Just remember that.
You had a long
I don't know.
career.
I mean, you stuck up in New York all your life. I don't know if you know where Louisiana is.
Oh, come on. I went to college in Florida. What, are you kidding me? I know exactly where I am. I know all those places. You will get a phone call on the radio. You will get a phone call.
All right, Boog, thanks.